Hey everybody, Chris the Cop here. Welcome back to Shift Fire, and we're going to be talking about the North Hollywood heist, or for us police officers, the North Hollywood bank robbery. Let's jump on into this. In North Hollywood, these two suspects, they were already on a bank robbery spree, and the FBI was already onto them. They had stolen a few $1 million in other bank robberies. So these two suspects actually chose the Bank of America in North Hollywood. They were told that there was going to be well over $2 million in this bank. That delivery never came about, so there was only about $300,000 in there, and so they were really upset about the fact that they did not get what they were going to get. If you listen to the interviews of the two officers, they were doubled up and they're driving down the street, and as they look to their left, they see two armed subjects, and they're armed head to toe in body armor, carrying automatic weapons into the bank. And that's when they went ahead and called it in, because normally, as you know, we would not get there until the alarm went off. Usually by then the suspects are gone. Before that even happens, LAPD is already converging onto this bank. What we see in the video is them walking out, and then most infamous bank robbery shooting happens right there on live television, which was something that I don't think we had ever really seen here in the United States at all.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the first famous shootouts that we have.
LAPD was still using the 9mm Beretta. Some officers were still using the 38 wheel gun. We only have body armor covering our chest and our back. Rifle rated helmets weren't even out yet. None of this stuff was out yet. LAPD had shotguns. Unfortunately, you had to go through a special class to get slugs, what we call basically a rifle slug. You could put this metal slug into a shotgun. That would have taken down these suspects. However, LAPD was still transitioning to those, so they still had buckshot. LAPD officers had to respond to a gun store and confiscated guns to continue the firefight with the suspects. They confiscated dozens of rifles from the gun store to actually continue the battle, because that's how long this battle was going on. People are asking, where was SWAT? SWAT on this particular day was training at the main academy and had to respond all the way to North Hollywood. So it was a great distance for them to even get there. They did get there, and they did get in the firefight. There were two suspects. First of all, one was named Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasarino. They had met by one of the beach areas and had become friends. They had some mutual likes and some mutual dislikes, and they had started robbing banks together. They actually took a major pain reliever. Those rounds were not having the painful effect that they should have had because they were already numb, and that was one of the reasons why they did not go down right away. Once they're inside, they make their demands, they get their money, they're upset that it's only $300,000. By this time, LAPD has this place surrounded, and as soon as they step out, they see the sheer amount of patrol cars, and they get the announcement to give up. Rifles go up, and they just start blasting the LAPD. There were over 2,000 rounds between LAPD and the suspects that were exchanged. LAPD's armed with 9mm handguns, and they're shooting at them and they're hitting them. By the time those rounds are getting there, the velocity hitting them, it's not doing anything to them. They're using rifles. They're using AK-47s. Those rounds, as you know, pierce right through metal, will go right through a bulletproof vest. That's what they were doing. Numerous officers were getting hit. Civilians in the area are being hit. Now we got what we call 44 minutes, and there was actually a show about it entitled 44 minutes. They were able to hold off the LAPD for 44 minutes until one committed suicide, and then the other one was neutralized by SWAT. At one particular point, one of the suspects get into the car. He's starting to drive away, and over the car, the other bank robber just firing, using the car for coverage. So this bad guy is now left alone, and now he has to think of something different. And then this is kind of where they flee into the neighborhood, because at this particular time, there was just no taking them down. Both suspects actually split off. Emil took the vehicle. Phillips went walking. Now they were no longer together. That firepower had been spread out. LAPD was starting to come up with a plan. Like I said, they went to a gun store and got better weapons. So Phillips is getting hit. He's getting pelted with weapons, and he's walking down the neighborhood. He's meeting with LAPD police officers, and they're shooting at him. Whatever was going through his mind, as he goes to shoot himself, at the same time, another officer shoots him, and simultaneously, that officer's round enters his neck, taking out his cervical spine, and he goes down. Now, regarding Emil's in the vehicle. As he's driving, obviously he knows the vehicle is made and that we're going to be looking for that vehicle. There's this other truck coming down, and he tries to hijack that truck. I believe they took the keys out of their truck and he's not able to get into it. If you listen to the radio transmission, there's some confusion that the command post doesn't know SWAT's on scene. They're telling this unit, as you see it pull up, they're telling them, back out, SWAT's coming. And you hear a voice say, that is SWAT. The cool part that I like about this, they're getting shot at the passenger side of their vehicle, and you see both of the SWAT operators trying to get out to the driver's side door. Well, you see one of the SWAT operators in a vest, in shorts. That's how quick they converged on the scene, that they didn't even get an opportunity to put their gear on because they were training. When they get out, they start exchanging fire with Emil. Eventually, one of the officers is able to lay down on the floor, and he shoots underneath the car, and he's able to hit Emil, which causes Emil to go down. They exchange some more gunfire, and then Emil eventually succumbs to his injuries. Those two guys, it's amazing to see how they were not hit, that they were able to actually take out the suspect. Now, I know there's going to be people here that are going to be like, oh yeah, but he bled to death because he was waiting for the paramedics. This actually gives rise to one of the reasons why I like tactical medics, is because a tactical medic who's assigned to a SWAT team would have been able to respond to that location because they have the training gear to render medical attention. This is still a time before there were any TAC meds. The only team that had actual paramedics on the team was the LA County Sheriff's Department, because that is their model. LAPD does not have paramedics. They rely on their fire department. The fire department was in a staging area, and because they did not know if the scene was safe, the fire department was not allowed to roll in. And as you know, based upon your experience, the fire department will stage until we tell them it's what we say safe, which we refer to as code 4. That was not happening because I remember on the news, they were saying there was a third suspect that was in the neighborhoods. That ended up being false, but that was one of the initial reports. Emil bled to death while waiting for the paramedics, which did not arrive at his location for an hour. This prompted LAPD to up their game by getting assault rifles, slugs into their shotguns. So this actually changed the way LAPD started to arm their police officers, which obviously to date is just a standard for all of us now. In total, 12 police officers were injured, which they suffered gunshot wounds, as well as 8 civilians. Now, how nobody but the suspects didn't die is utterly amazing. Some of the police officers never returned back to work because their injuries were career ending. No knock on LAPD. No one was ready for this, and I could not imagine going through what those officers going through, shielding themselves for 44 minutes.
You know, when you sign up to do this job, it's, you know what you're getting yourself into, but as much as they try to prepare us for those things, it's not something that you're ever really ready to experience or see. These guys went through a lot, and they handled it very well.
Here's the rule of thumb when you go get sized for your vest. The vest company will ask you, what is the round that you carry? And then they'll recommend a certain level based upon what you carry. Now, obviously the best level for a patrol is a level 3, but that's not gonna stop a rifle rated round. And that's why now patrol officers are armed with rifle vests or carriers, so they will put that on over their uniform on top of that they're already their patrol vest, which is underneath their uniform shirt. So that's an extra layer.
Obviously, they didn't have the equipment that we have now, but the suspects did.
If you look at the pictures in the video, they were decked out from head to toe. LAPD was taking headshots with their 9mm, and they were getting hit. They had everything covered. That's why they were so successful. And then on top of it, taking the drugs that they took, they thought this well out and planned it well out. In fact, remember, they chose this bank based upon some criteria that they were looking for. So that means they cased it out. That means they knew that they were going to take their vehicle and they were going to go down this street to this freeway, all of that. So they had their plan. And once again, law enforcement were reactive. We have to react to what they're doing.
So do we know anything about Emil or Phillips Jr.? I mean, I'm sure this wasn't their first stunt, so do they have some type of criminal background or history?
The FBI had considered them, they nicknamed them the high incidence bandits. So obviously they were on the FBI's watch list. LAPD just got to them first. When we get somebody, it's not their first crime. This is just the time that they got caught. Who knows how many other robberies they were responsible for, just based upon the information and intelligence that the FBI has. The armor car in Colorado, some bank robberies here in California, the GTA in Glendale, their attempt here in North Hollywood.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you go follow Shiftfire and Chris the Cop. I wasn't born yet. This was a year before my time, so hopefully that doesn't make me feel too old, but
definitely want to file. Okay.